Hello and welcome back to Tommy's Top Picks Weekly Roundup podcast episode 155. I'm your host Tommy, joined by John.
How's it going?
Things are escalating quickly, or maybe not.
Yeah, that's fair.
Some things are, some things aren't.
Yeah, definitely that. I agree with that.
So we're going to talk about some Magic. I'm going to be talking about what we played, some standard stuff, Innistrad Remastered, pre-orders. Going to talk about some Pokemon, Prismatic Evolutions, and Journey Together. Maybe we'll touch on some of the other games, and then do you have economic stuff this week?
Yeah, the list of stuff there is all within the last week, which is
Oh
a whole
god, dang
roller
it! I
coaster
was
ride.
really hoping because I
Yeah,
just
it
saw that
wasn't.
as I was going through the intro,
Yeah,
and then I switched over to the tab back to this page, and yeah,
we'll talk through it.
yeah,
A lot
okay,
has
cool,
happened. It's been a roller coaster of economics this week.
yay! So, where we
Where's
always
that?
start, where we played.
Yeah.
You played some Commander.
I did just one game of Friday Night Magic. Sadly, well, not really. Sadly, a friend was going back to his school, was off his break, so that was the last chance to game with him. So I ditched on Friday Night Magic pretty quickly to game with him. So I only got one game in. It was Yuriko, the ninja, not the worst ninja. I will give it that. Tessa and my Yasan, because I knew I only had a limited time. I was like, let's play a fast game. Bring your power decks, which everyone did.
Mm-hmm.
And sure enough, they were powerful. It was much slower than I expected. My Yasan did not go off in 5 turns. In fact, I should have mulliganed my hand. I didn't think about it till much later, but one of the things you got to look for to have that deck work is some sort of ramp that you can play turn 1, turn 2.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't do that. I kept a 7 and a 6, had a lot of mana and a few other little things here and there that were useful, but not the ramps. And so it played really slow, and when it plays really slow, it fails. So
Yeah.
it did fail. They also managed me. I think they expected it to be kind of gross, so every time I got it out, someone took it off the board, which is expected. That's how it goes. And so it was pretty tough. Yuriko was the board threat immediately because they're putting out 1-cost flyers that swing, and of course they're gonna hit, and then they get to ninjutsu, and then they get extra value off of it, right? Because of Yuriko, I think it's every time a ninja hits or something, she gets to draw a card, and everything in the deck ninjas, ninja stuff.
Fun.
Something
That's kind of cool.
Something like that. Yeah. It's gross. It's a gross deck. It has destroyed us. Both me and the Tessa player were very aware of that deck, the Yuriko deck, so we targeted the hell out of it.
Yeah.
To be fair, it became less of a threat towards the second half of the game, and Tessa got more board state than I wanted, and it was too late to target because the board state thing, and I had been managed at that point, so I didn't have much of a board state. It stinks. Every time I got a board state, the Tessa player ended up doing like a board wipe or whatever, which got rid of Yuriko, but Yuriko cheats out, so there's no commander tax. So it wasn't that effective against Yuriko. It was very effective against me, though. It kept me pretty locked down. So anyways, Tessa did end up winning. Very good deck. It was interesting and well constructed. It did a bunch of aristocrats thing, like gain a life, everyone loses a life things, and
I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, everything that chumps or every little creature that dies or whatever.
Yep.
I don't remember
Yep.
exactly, but I got out my I don't remember the green card. It's a big green card that creates 0/1 plants for every land you have, and you can +1 them if something happens. It's a pretty standard green token storm / finisher type card. So I did get it out, and so I had 6 or 7 of those on the board, and then board wiped and got all those pingers. Now
Yeah.
it was funny. Like while he cleared my board, he used his damage because like for every one of those that die, you get to choose a target and damage them for one or whatever. And he put all the damage on the Yuriko player. So it was nice that while he destroyed my board state, he didn't really attack me directly, but
Sure.
but he did end up beating me. So eventually, so it was fine. It was an okay game. I wouldn't say it was a great game. It was a high power game, so those tend to be a little like I don't know if
Yeah.
salty is the right word, but
No,
it's just like straight lockdown, straight this domination.
Yeah.
It's pretty flashy and quick. So
Yeah.
which is
Figure
what we
it out
wanted
quick. Yeah.
because I didn't have much time, so it worked out.
Fair. I just did a couple more Dustborn drafts. Tried a couple new color pairings, whatever was open, and then continued the mono red stuff. But I wanted to call out I got a couple quests this week that I just didn't have proper standard deck built for to get the colors done. And so I tried out the new ones that they came out with foundations for that. Everyone just gets by default just the bare starter free to play stuff.
Mm-hmm.
They're pretty good. I actually won some games with them.
Huh. Weird.
So that was fun. I just wanted to call that out real quick. But yeah, other than that, most of my time this week was actually organizing stuff for the store and building a shelf in the basement and doing a bunch of things, organizational things to make cards a little neater around the house. So that's
why
it's felt really good.
It's good.
And do you know how I was rewarded for it by finding many piles of cards that should be on the store.
No, I know that.
It's like, ooh, this is a valuable pile.
That was last week's cry out.
Yeah.
Found all those freaking. I still haven't gotten them all listed. I got.
Oh yeah, no, I
50%
have piles
listed of that random box of fab I found. And so.
Yeah, last week my win was that I had no cards on my desk. They're back.
Yeah, that never lasts long.
Yeah. But the shelf is looking really good upstairs. Nice. That's all cleaned up and organized.
Very cool. Standard.
Yeah, Wild of Eldraine is out of print.
Yep.
Doesn't rotate out of standard until next year.
Yep. Are they going to reprint it?
The draft boxes? The collector boxes, no.
Okay. No, not the collector, obviously. But the draft is what everyone's talking about being out of print. And being like, oh my God, it's in standard for another year and it's out of print. How's that possible? Blah, blah, blah.
I mean, maybe.
I don't know. I honestly don't.
But I feel like with the price of the recent play boxes staying higher shows demand is there. Like these boxes are selling. So I think it's just, is it worth it? And then could they get more for those draft boxes if they reprinted it? But also then I don't know how hard it is for them to switch back to draft from play. Mm-hmm. Like just the way the machines are set up, or I don't know.
And here's the thing, right? Let's say this is all driven around limited, which I'm not 100% convinced, but that is a limited product, right?
Yes.
Look at the individual cards in the set, and does the set have anything that's really hard to get a hold of, right? Like as a single card, if I'm a standard player, right?
There's a lot of important cards for standard.
And they're out of price range, or are they reasonable?
They're reasonable right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And how many of them get reprints in the next 8 sets?
Probably a few of them.
Exactly.
Yeah. So maybe not.
Since they have that schedule and have that plan, do we get a reprint of
I don't
that
think
box?
so. I don't
Probably
think so.
not. Right. Yeah. That's what I'm thinking. Because if you know, they seem to be designing the products pretty effectively to reprint things that are starting to tick up. I've noticed this in a lot of cards. It's like you get to a 15 plus card, $15+ card, and there's a reprint of it, a different version of it. Now for standard play, I don't know if this is legal, but question mark. Could I use something like an Innistrad remastered version, a reprint version of some card from Wild of Eldraine?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously. Absolutely. You can play you like Llanowar Elves in standard, you can play your old version.
You can. You're legally allowed.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, if that's the case, then all these different products that may not be standard products also can add to make the pieces affordable for standard. So yes,
absolutely. Yeah.
So reprints are unnecessary reprinting boxes are unnecessary as long as they're reprinting the staple product cards along the path.
There are a lot of new cards in there that they would then
those
need to
foundation new cards, right?
No. The Wilds of Eldraine cards.
What do you mean?
Like there's a lot of new cards. They aren't reprints that are affecting standard that are good.
that are
So
in
the that are in Wilds of Eldraine that would need to be reprinted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's
Yeah.
my point. They can.
Yeah. It's not what I was saying is there aren't other versions right now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sure, but that's how they
So it
make
could cause
future versions
this
of boxes valuable
right.
is by not having multiple versions at first, and then the price goes up because it's a good card and they know it.
Right. So a lot of the
And
$3 to $5 cards could be $10, $15 cards
by
in
the
a
time
couple
they
months.
reprint it,
Yeah.
and that will make
Yeah.
Aether blah whatever version 2, a more valuable box, quote unquote, and
Right.
also the price will come down on that particular card.
Right.
So yeah, which is the pattern.
Right. But so this also had me thinking with Wilds of Eldraine and Lost Caverns of Ixalan being the last two draft boxes, is that the end of a format?
Why?
Because play boosters have a different makeup. So for limited play, draft is a very different experience than play boosters.
Eh,
And then there are no more draft boosters.
eh.
It's a very slight tweak thing.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't think it's a big enough difference anyone cares or notices.
I do.
Do you?
Between, yeah, our drafts, our Winstons with play boosters are much higher powered than draft boosters.
Yeah, I don't notice.
I do.
I don't think it matters.
It doesn't. It's just different. I'm not saying one's better than
And
the
are
other.
they actually more powerful, or is it just the rarities are different? Because you know how many cards are in multiple rarities.
True.
That's why I'm like, I don't think it really matters.
There's
I
just
don't know if the
stronger, weaker
rarity and the
sets.
powers actually align in a way that's meaningful.
Yeah. Yeah.
I just remember going through these commons in some of the draft boosters and having to go through every common because there's like 6 commons that were like multi-dollar cards because they were overly powerful commons.
Oh yeah.
You know?
Deadly Dispute.
Yeah, I was just saying it happens all the time. So that's why I'm like, just because the rarities are better, or I guess quote unquote better because they have more rares or whatever. I don't know. That's actually more powerful. Like, do you really think Markov is more powerful than Wilds?
No, Markov's a bad example.
Exactly.
Wilds
that's my point.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, you picked the weakest play.
Intentionally, specifically to point out the variance between high power, low power.
Sure, absolutely. Yeah. I meant like by the majority, not just.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing. We'll see how this year plays out and how much it will actually matter.
Yeah. But also the price increase, do the draft boxes move up to that play?
No,
price, like we were talking about.
Reduce the prices.
Right.
Yeah. The next set is coming out.
But there's more packs in it. There's still less packs in it.
What's that?
There's still less packs in it.
People don't realize that most of the time.
I know.
They see booster box for $99 and booster box for $150. How much money do I have in my pocket?
Yeah.
Do I care? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like that's 90% of the decisions. The 10% are people like us who actually think about all these extra details and whatever.
Yeah. Yeah, that's fair.
On the future, etc. Most people just look at what's the cheapest box I can get that will get me a bunch of cool stuff.
True.
Or what looks cool.
True.
Like I like that theme because I like the horror, or I like that one because I like cowboys, whatever, dinosaurs.
I mean, the next one I'm excited for is Innistrad Remastered. I'm actually getting pretty excited about it.
Why is that?
I don't know, just to be able to draft and seeing all the art and stuff and all the cards revealed now. I think it'll be a really fun limited play.
You finally got on the remastered train?
Yeah. This one's interesting to me. This is the aesthetic that I like though. I don't know. Ravnica or Dominaria didn't really. I don't know.
Okay.
Didn't pull me in.
Yeah. People were very down on those ones too.
This is like vampires and zombies and spooky stuff.
Spooky stuff.
I don't know. I enjoy this vibe a lot more.
Yeah, we'll see how it plays. I'm thinking it's not going to hold up at this price unless there is a supply cut that's being rumored is actually true.
Yeah.
Which I could see that happening based on, like, Rudy made a point about this, like, Dominaria was not well received. Neither was Ravnica, if you recall.
Mm-hmm.
And so the prices dropped pretty dramatically on those. And basically the thought was the remastered products were, one, probably too expensive because if you think about it, they're generally a more expensive product.
Yeah.
And two, probably overprinted for how expensive they were, therefore causing stores to lose money, which stinks because they basically are forced to buy each set to keep up with their distro.
Right.
They buy it at this higher premium price, expecting to sell it at a higher premium price, but because boxes are so common, it's a problem. And that kind of goes to that whole thing he talked about again with the Ravnica serialized card situation that happened, where like there was a ton of them. You remember that?
Yeah.
They were like very, very common, way more common than they should have been, and it's because they cut the print run at kind of last minute. That's his rumor is that they cut the print run kind of last minute and they had the serialized cards, so they had to put them in, so it made them super common if you open cases.
Right. Right. Right.
And I think what basically happened is they screwed up these remastered kind of demand expectation and adjusted it. And so potentially, if this is all true, and we'll find out in a few weeks,
Mm-hmm.
Innistrad Remastered probably has a much lower print run because they want those value of boxes to be a premium product because it's supposed to be. And therefore, by reducing the print run, they can keep the value of the box higher, that sort of thing. If they do that and it is actually all true, we'll see how this plays out. I'm not convinced yet, just because of the history. So far,
Sure.
it has not worked, and these prices have dropped. And frankly, looking through it, there's a handful of cards that I think are cool and I want, but I didn't see a lot.
Yeah.
And so I don't know that the value is there in the boxes. Was the big reprints like Craterhoof, the Liliana of the Veil, I think was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
There's only one serialized card, so
Yeah.
they're going to be
500.
rare.
One
so
of 500.
get one of those. Yeah, exactly. I guess there were some of the poster cards were pretty cool. I'll give
Emrakul.
that is one of the chase things that's actually going to have some value, I think. Especially if these boxes are super rare. Those are going to be super valuable if that's actually true. So we'll see. I mean, we have to see how this release goes. It sounds like, at least the rumor is that they've changed the formula a little bit here. So I think this is going to surprise us one way or the other.
Yeah. Grizzlebrand is my favorite of the showcase.
Which one?
Grizzlebrand.
What's that one do?
Demon Grizzlebrand, 7/7 flying lifelink legendary creature. Pay 7 life, draw 7 cards.
Does it cost 8? 4 black, 4?
Yeah.
Yeah, that one. Yeah.
I just like how it's like flying lifelink. It's like an old DC comic book cover.
They did a good job with that. This is the first posters I've actually liked. I hated all the Lord of the Rings. I pretty much hated every other poster card. These ones I'm like, yeah, no, this is on theme. It fits. It looks good.
Yeah.
There's a few areas where you could be like, that one's not so good. This one's better. Sort of thing. But they're still good. In general, they hit the mark on it, in my opinion. So yeah, there's a handful that I'll probably want, depending on the rarity and cost. I may not pick them up if they're like $50 cards. I'm probably not going to do that.
Yeah, it looks like they are right now, but it's all in pre-sale.
Yeah. So we'll see. Yeah, I'm curious how that goes. And then of course, I think limited play will have a factor on this, if it is really a fun set. But I'll be honest, the last few remastered sets people have said they've been really fun, but didn't help. Dominaria, no one gave a crap. Ravnica, no one gave a crap.
Yeah.
Kind of liked it better when no one gave a crap because then I got discounted cases of boxes, bought them and cracked them and had fun with it. And made my money back because no one had them, no one opened them, and the singles were really good prices. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not sure I like it this way because it makes it less fun for me, but for the world and the market, it's probably better this way.
Yeah.
So we'll see where. I got my my collector box. I will open it.
Cool.
I did not go for the sale. They said TCG Player had that sale.
Yeah, on play boxes.
Play boxes, yeah.
So yeah, $154.99, and it sold like crazy. Like you could, I already had my boxes pre-ordered, but for about the same price. But it was selling, like you would refresh the screen and the inventory would be down like 70. It was pretty crazy.
Do we have any actual data on it anywhere?
Yes, I have that.
Curious if
So total sold in the 3 months is 2,411, but the majority of that, there wasn't much before the sale.
Yeah, I don't know if that's actually really that good or not. I'm feeling that they did the sale because they weren't seeing this expected flow through rate on those play boxes.
It was all in the banana stand.
Yeah, see, I
And
honestly
they
feel like when
they
they do
like
this,
put up
that's a
an they
bad sign, not a good sign.
yeah, they put up a number, and it was like around 800 boxes or something, and then those sold out, and then they put up more, and then those sold out, and then they put up more. It was a lot.
Yeah, that's how they always do it.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's interesting. I'm looking at the
But
chart.
now people are still buying them at 174.
That's yeah. So I'm looking at the chart, and it's interesting because on first pre-sale, it was stated as a 209 product, which obviously is way over the top.
Yeah.
It kind of flattened out in the 160, 170 range, and then they did the sale, and we're talking like small amounts of sales, like 100, 170, 47. Like it just slowly increases up, and then you have the banana stand sale to
Hmm.
2,000 in 1 week, right?
Hmm.
And it goes from the 150s range, that low because of the sale, right,
Hmm.
up to 177. So it's like it's interesting. It like juices the market when they did that. I'm just curious if it holds up or if it tanks as a result of no one else like that sets a price memory sort of thing. Right now it's at 170, but we're still
Sure.
pretty
TCG
right.
player sales do give price memory.
They do, they
Yeah,
do. So it's curious. I'll see like post release. We should take a look at this again and see what happened.
absolutely. But I watched a final trades video on it, uh, on the pre-sales 2 weeks out, and then he's going to do another one next week.
Cool.
So shout out to him. He keeps up with all these things. But the demand for this was beating Ravnica Remastered and Dominaria Remastered at this time at this timeline,
Now, was that before the sale or was that inclusive of the sale?
inclusive of the sale.
Well, that doesn't count.
Yeah, yeah.
There, you can't compare the two at all.
No,
Having
no,
a
because
front
the other
page
ones didn't
sale
have
with a
sales.
discount. Yeah, exactly,
Yeah.
exactly. So I wonder what it was before that. If you can see somewhere
Hmm?
that because it looks like pretty anemic sales, but I actually haven't looked very closely at the data on the remastered sets in the beginning. I don't really pay much attention to pre-sale data, as you know. I mostly poo-poo it.
Yeah.
Um, so I am curious. Maybe they were seeing there's a not enough demand, but
Yeah.
we'll
I don't know.
see.
We'll see. It's still selling at 170, so
Yeah, yeah,
and like a
and
decent amount.
yeah, there's sales happening on a daily.
But yeah, sales are also happening in the daily on Pokemon.
Yeah.
It's getting pretty wild. On Thursday, I think it was, uh, Pokemon Center put up their pre-orders for Journey Together, the new set, the new booster box set that comes out after Prismatic Evolutions. So the next booster box set.
Yep.
And I logged on, or I woke up and saw it, tried to see if I could grab a case, and then the whole site was borked. Like by
Oh.
9:30, it was all gone. Everything.
Ooh.
Booster boxes at MSRP. This is like booster bundles, booster
Yeah.
boxes, and this 3-pack blisters were gone.
Jeez.
Everything was gone.
Pokemon has gone into pure FOMO manic mode.
It's bad, and there's nothing. There's I think Pokemon's done with seeing their boxes be 80, $90, and they're like, I don't know. It's just
Well, wait. Of course they're done with that. Didn't they up MSRP in the last year to
yeah.
like?
So I think
Yeah.
what they're doing is purposely withholding product till their boxes that are out get up to that,
Interesting. Trying to restructure the
just
whole
for
market.
perspective. Yeah,
Yeah. Could be. Yeah.
because like distros don't have anything.
Well, yeah. I will be honest. That has been the case for over a year.
Oh, I
So
know, but now stores are running out of inventory.
yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't have enough data to say how that actually works, and I'm not sure TCG data is even very good on that because of all the other channels of
No,
sales of
I'm just
Pokemon.
noticing all of the Scarlet and Violets get up towards that 160 now,
Hmm.
and just kind of plateauing around there. A little bit below, a little bit above. Like Twilight is a little bit above. Paldea is 200, a little bit above. And then you have the ones that are still like 140, 150.
But Battle Styles is
Like
still
base. Battle
20.
Styles is still probably 140.
Just because
Forever will be.
battle style things.
Well, the reason for that is it's still available on PokemonCenter.com.
It is just a hated set, I
You could
guess.
just buy it for MSRP still. Same with Vivid Voltage. Both you could buy
Yeah,
for.
that does say something like about the print run differences
Yeah,
at the
exactly.
sign eras and stuff. Yeah, I think you're right. I think probably market reaction, demand reduction, supply
Hmm.
reduction to try to keep. It's the class. It's the thing we went through with Magic and all the other things, right? Like this cycle of
Yeah,
like,
and
oh,
why?
we printed too much. We need to stop doing that.
Yeah, yeah,
So yeah, Pokemon has been navigating this pretty well historically. It sounds
yeah.
like now they're kind of swinging too far the other way. We'll see what
Well, and
happens.
obviously, because they sell straight to consumer, right? So they would prefer to do that, right?
Yeah.
That's how they make the most. Guess what they did with the new booster box Journey Together? They're calling them enhanced booster boxes.
What does that mean?
It comes with a promo.
If you buy it direct?
Mm-hmm.
Interesting.
A stamped, and then even the box is a little different, I think.
Very weird. Wonder what they're doing there. Are they trying to take over the whole market as direct too?
Or as much as they can. As long as, but that requires booster box prices to be um,
To hold up?
to hold up to MSRP.
Yeah, I don't know if they would do that though. That's like who shoves the middle finger at Walmart? You know what I mean? That's a good way to get your finger chopped off. I don't know if they would actually be doing that on purpose.
Well, they've done it. No, it's just like the Pokemon Center Elite ETB. They don't.
What?
Walmart doesn't get those.
Wait, Walmart doesn't get these other booster boxes?
No, they don't normally get booster boxes.
Oh, they don't at all? Oh, I
Mm-mm.
thought that's what the packs were that was in the checkout was from a booster box.
No.
Where do they get those packs in?
Wait, what in the card checkout?
Yeah, on the checkout there's like a little grab a pack things.
Yeah.
They only sell the like
No, they sell. They don't do those anymore. They don't have loose booster boxes open. They have like sleeve blisters and the collection
Walmart
big
doesn't have
boxes and
packs generally. They just have weird
those weird
products.
plasticky
Yeah,
collection
yeah,
things.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Gotcha. Okay,
yeah.
I didn't realize that.
Or just the cardboard single sleeve blisters.
Yeah, yeah, I know which ones you're talking
Yeah.
about. Yeah. Um. Oh, okay. Well, then, yeah, maybe that makes sense. Because then they're just giving the middle finger to LGSs,
Mm-hmm.
which
Yeah.
I don't know how much LGSs are important to their ecosystem since play isn't a huge factor, right? Like how much do you need to support the play
I
location?
don't think they really need to.
Exactly. That's what I mean. Like you look at the economics of the whole structure and they probably don't care.
I mean, they definitely showed they care.
How?
They put a lot of money into their big events.
The big events
Mm-hmm.
aren't at the LGSs.
No, 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 no. They put them on.
That's what I mean. They
Yeah.
don't care about the LGS. The
Correct.
LGS is what, the qualifier at best?
Yes.
Yeah, they don't care. Yeah. Interesting. Interesting. Especially if any of these digital clients get robust enough that
They
they
could
can
move
do
it online.
Yeah. Interesting. Yeah. Who knows? Big moves. Big, giant,
I mean,
titanic Pokemon moves.
yeah. It's getting weird. I think I'm out.
Yeah. Definitely the time where, like, you better be ready to hold the bags for anything you're buying.
Yeah.
Because whenever it gets like this, you're getting close to the peak, the top of the mania. Now it can go crazy for longer than you expect. That definitely happens all the time, and there's many reasons to expect that this time around too. Um, but it also means like every buy you make from here until it pops, be ready to hold for 5 years, like basement or was it Rudy's bathroom style?
Mm-hmm. Oh, I
Because
mean, I'm doing it the opposite way.
Agreed.
Like
I'm
I'm
just saying,
selling.
for
Like
those out there that
yeah.
are getting caught up in the FOMO, just because you're going to be able to flip some of these things 3x in 10 months or whatever, doesn't mean everything's going to still be doing that in a few months, right?
No.
Like, just
No.
be mindful that anything you're buying right now, you should be ready to have in a bathroom for 5 years.
Yeah. I'll be
Yeah.
surprised if I have any Pokemon booster boxes left by the end of next weekend.
Yeah, it's that we're in that super hype phase. Everything sells immediately,
Well,
which
yeah,
is cool.
I don't have them up right now, but if I put them
Yeah,
up, they'd be gone.
take your time with
Yeah.
it. Ride the up wave and move stuff as you can and as you're comfortable. But yeah, if you're doing buying stuff, that's where you got to be the
No,
most.
no, no. My buying stuff is in Magic right now.
Yeah, same. Cool.
But yeah, it's an interesting time with prismatic evolutions up to 150. You're starting to see the posts of like people just being like, "This hobby's insane. I'm out. I joined a couple months ago. This is nuts." Like,
Yeah, we're in that.
it's silly. It's like I get it. I agree that the booster box, the Scarlet and Violet getting to 160 is fine. Like I'm not. That's not what freaks me out. It's the Silver Tempest that was available on TCG Player for 144 for a really long time and only sold out a couple months ago and is now doubled since then.
Yep.
It's
Sports card
those stuff.
doing it. That's
Yeah.
it's always what they call the dumb money. When the dumb money comes in, it's a sign that the party's almost over. It's true of crypto. Like
Yeah.
whenever you hear like I'm making up a name, I have no idea if she's ever supported crypto. Like if Megan Fox is on Twitter saying you need to get my crypto, my coin, my
The
token,
Transformer
whatever.
coin.
Yeah, exactly. You know it's over. Like whenever
Yeah,
it's someone
yeah.
that's completely out of the
Yeah.
space is getting involved, that's when it's like the maximum FOMO
Yeah.
hype moment, and you should be very cautious in those periods. For me, in Pokemon, the baseball card people coming into Pokemon
Yep.
is like they are not Pokemon people, and
No.
they're just seeing the hype, and they're just be
Speaking
careful.
to that, there have been a bazillion new Pokemon YouTube channels being thrown into my algorithm, and everyone is hopping on lives together, and it is just like pandemic levels and of new faces, and a lot of them. And I am guilty. I will put them on sometimes, and a lot of these new faces are sports card shop owners because the
Yeah.
sports card world is not doing well.
Oh, interesting. I didn't
And
know
so
that.
they have distribution access and they're like, hey, let me get some Pokemon. Because usually they would order a box or two, right? They'd have a box or two of each set. So when like dads would come in with their kids, they could grab a couple of packs, but they didn't move a lot of Pokemon, right?
Yeah.
So their orders weren't very big. But as the past couple of years have gone on, they've started adding to those orders. Now, when Pokemon prints does their print, there's a big pie, right? And there's all the LGSs, there's all the big box stores, and then now there's the sports card stores are fighting for their slice of the pie. And then you have all these online shops that came in when Pokemon wasn't doing well that is also taking another slice of the pie. And there's just not enough to go around. And so not everyone's getting their normal amount.
Yeah, didn't you say they cut off adding new people to distro or whatever?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's also a sign we saw in the pandemic when that happened. It was party was
all the signs are up.
Yeah. So
yeah.
Be cautious. That's
yes.
all.
Yes.
Same story as last week. More data.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. But again, it still stands. Like the next couple of Pokemon sets, like when that teased Team Rocket set, that's going to be stupid.
I'm not. This is in no way saying Pokemon's going to crash tomorrow. Not at all.
No. But here's the thing. There's another thing that is true, where people get too crazy and Pokemon will call their bluff. Paradox Rift. The reason it's one of the lowest Scarlet and Violet sets is because it happened with this set. Is that you have all these online guys, right? And you have all these LGSs, and you put in your order, and on the high stuff you put in a super high order, hoping to get a little bit, right?
Yes.
And so Paradox Rift, they called the bluff and they put in a big order and they got that big order.
Everyone got it.
Everyone got it. So they had to. That's why you were seeing those crazy TikTok deals a year ago. and from those online shops that were like, oh shit, I have to pay this $50,000 invoice.
Yeah. I wonder how many times this stuff is at
It's a
least
cycle. It just
yeah, at
happens.
least jacked up partially by distro. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
distro we know plays games with what they get. We've seen it
Yes.
live with smaller games, and they definitely do it with the bigger games where there's a lot more room to wiggle.
They
Um,
a recent fact on that. That you know how a couple months ago we got a Paldea Evolved and Obsidian Flames reprint? It wasn't a reprint. All those boxes said do not release until, so those were held back.
so it was just distro. It
Yeah.
wasn't. Oh my god! See, that's the thing.
So it wasn't even a full reprint. So those boxes should not have gone down. That's why Paldea is up to 200. That's why Obsidian Flames is up to I think 60, 70, or 50, maybe around there. But it's up.
Is Innistrad Remaster the same thing? Is this just a distro rumor that's BS, and because that's why it's just a rumor and no one's got any real data on it?
Could be.
See, I hate that. I think that's so shady, but I guess that they have a business they have to run too.
But also, if Wizards saw the numbers and they are cutting back on, they don't. It's obvious that they don't want to overprint.
Is it? Does it matter for a play box?
Well, yeah, sure.
That's where it's like the secondary market. It matters, but it doesn't matter that much. To
But
Wizards.
if
they get the same dollars in,
but if they're
no
struggling to keep, I'm sure they would much rather reprint Bloomborough and stuff like that. But I
true.
guess
The reprint like logistics. You're right. It does. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Yeah, I don't know. It's wild. It's definitely a weird. Well, it's a weird time. It's a time we've seen before. It's a hype time.
mm-hmm.
It's
a time. Will they, won't they?
Yeah. And when does the
And
hammer
when?
come down?
Yeah.
It will come down.
Calling my shot. Calling my shot for Pokemon March.
You think that's the kind of the reversal? That will be the top. Is that what you're calling? What are you calling?
Well, that's when. I'm pretty sure that's when Journey Together comes out. I bet you we get a lot of this set.
Of Journey Together.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. We'll call that the top and see where we
March
are.
March 28th. End of March.
Okay. End of March.
And with that, I bet you we get a large reprint of other stuff too.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, it could be any number of triggers that
yes
calls that make that happen. But yeah, call that the top then, and we'll see where it is. Interesting.
Because like you're pissing a bunch of people off right now, and this isn't. It's January 12th, and there's no cards of distribution, and we have until March until the next set.
I will tell you, like I said, I was on the distro for a long time. I looked at Pokemon a lot. There was never booster boxes available except for pre-order, and that's been true for like 2 years straight. So that's not unusual.
Right.
That is not new.
No, but
people are like, it's not in the distro. It's like, guess what? It hasn't been in distro since
but the pre-orders
Scarlet Violet started.
Right.
Like since before that, actually.
Right. But the January set is going to be Prismatic Evolutions, and that's already gone at pre-order.
That always happens. That's what I'm telling you. They are always all gone at pre-order, and you don't get another.
But they don't always have ETBs at $150.
That's true. That part's true. That is the difference thing. But
so the demand is higher. People are paying that. People paid higher than that earlier.
Yeah, I get it.
I get it.
Yeah. It's still, I don't know. There's definitely, don't get me wrong. There's no doubt there's a higher demand for Pokemon happening right now.
Yeah.
I just don't think that it's
I don't think it's going to last.
No, it's definitely not going to last.
No, I think people are going to get frustrated and leave, and then by the time this comes out in March,
take data points and assume it means more than it does, right? Like the not being a distro thing, that has been true 100% of the time that I've looked at the distro sheets for the last like 2 years, since like Tempest, when that was one of the last Pokemon things I bought through there, I think.
Yeah.
Because I didn't buy a lot of Pokemon through it. Yeah, like that was out at pre-order as well and never came back.
Mm-hmm.
Like it never showed back up. That's the thing. Like if there's a reprint or another wave or whatever, which does happen from time to time, it always sold out within like a day.
Yeah.
Like it never lasted. Those sheets never had booster box products except for the rare, Battle Styles type one.
Yeah.
Where no one could get rid of it and they forced you to take it, sort of thing.
Yeah, which is Yeah, I'm thinking at some point in 2025 there will be an opportunity where there will be cheaper boxes again.
Yeah, I mean, let's see. We'll find
Yeah.
out.
And I'm calling end of March, maybe early
Well,
April.
that would be the height. Like the cheaper boxes wouldn't have it for another 6 months after the height, the top.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah. So later in the year.
Yeah, because if you think about like the top of like Fab, right? We didn't know it was the top for another almost year.
Right. Right.
And then we look back and we're like, oh, it never went back up after
Yeah.
that.
Oh,
Like
we're
it just
still
kept
here.
going down.
Singles are selling.
Yeah.
Singles still sell every day.
Yeah, I'm all those ones I found. Like I said, I think I
Promos
got about.
started selling.
You know, I haven't had too many problems selling promos, with the exception of like your really common ones. Like you remember that Heliod's helm or
I had a
whatever?
red burgeoning sell yesterday
Is that a
from Tales
promo?
of Aria promo.
I
Just
didn't
like
even
a weekly
remember that.
play promo. Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, that's good. Yeah, most of those do not sell that well for me, or haven't in the past. Although they're probably all gone now, because I think I'm down to like one or two like full art promos that I have left.
That was one of the
Um,
piles that I found, and I'm very excited to go through.
Yeah, that is nice when you get stuff like that. But yeah, I agree. Fab has been selling consistently since I put all the M's up, um, and it was getting low. And I found that whole box of additional stuff, and I put that up. I think that's going to sell slower for me, because a lot of that was like the collectible stuff, like
Yeah.
first edition ARC and WTR singles and stuff like that. Like some things will sell, like the pink snatches. People freaking
Yeah.
love those because
Yeah.
it's a meme. But some of it doesn't sell. Like I think I have pink pummels as well. And
Well,
they're
that's not a me.
I agreed, but it is a first edition,
Yes.
very
Yes. Yes.
like
Yes. Yes.
iconic
Yes.
card, right?
Oh well, I mean, I have some first edition iconic cards up on the store, and they are still there
Yeah,
for a long
yeah.
time.
People just don't buy the first edition stuff. Is what I was getting at. Is like playables, IMs, in meta stuff that goes quick. The collectible side of it just isn't really
A lot more
that.
rainbow foils have been selling recently.
I've seen a lot of foils selling. I don't know why that changed. Maybe they changed the way they do the rulings on deck
I think it's
checks
the
and stuff.
next. I think it's the next wave of players. They just don't care. They're
Could
at
be.
the armory level, and it doesn't matter.
It could be. That could be it. Yeah. Or people just going straight bling. Or honestly, in some cases, the foils are cheaper.
Yes.
So they're just like, give me the cheapest card because I
Yeah.
don't care. I'm not going to
Yeah.
nationals. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
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 That's
Many
fair.
reasons.
But yeah, I noticed it too. It's still chugging along. Most of my sales are in Fab. I don't have that much up on the. That's, in
Star
volume, I have a
Wars.
lot up in Magic, but in
Yeah.
actual value, I don't. Most of my things are under 25 cents, and I list them at 25 cents.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's why they don't move very fast.
Yeah. Yeah. Star Wars
Sorry.
bulk has been moving too.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Like I have a lot of
I-
cards just at like 19 cents.
I was gonna say, you sell those at 19. That's what
Yeah.
you said last week. I
Yeah.
think, right?
And the amount of I don't get a bunch of orders of just nine. I have yet to get an order of just 19-cent cards, but the amount of time that there's like 2 or 3 of those added into a list, or of like making it 6, 7 cards instead of 3 or 4,
Yeah.
is awesome. So it's nice to see, and it's usually from Spark of the Rebellion, the first set.
That does make sense.
Yeah.
Anyone coming in, they need those staples, and that is definitely the staples set.
Yes, it is for sure.
Yeah.
And a couple of the rares, there I can tell the meta's shifting, and there's a couple rares that have been selling pretty consistently. But yeah, just little learnings that I've had this week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I gotta get rid of the rest of this Fab. I can't believe I found another box. That makes me so sad. I'm so, like, it made me so sad. I still haven't even listed it all, because I'm like, every time I do, I'm like, it just makes me sad.
Yeah, I have like 10 boxes of Fab bulk that I'm going through.
That's a lot.
Yeah. Some of it was yours.
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
right. I gave you a bunch of stuff. Right?
So I have a lot of Fab bulk, John.
Yeah.
My wife and I were cleaning out the hobby room and just trying to get it in a little neater order. It's much nicer now, actually. You can walk in there. And we would play a game of the white BCW boxes before opening the lid. Is it fab?
What is it? Yeah, what's in it?
What's in it? Is it no? It wasn't. What's in it? Is it fab?
Okay, okay.
And the majority of it was fab. There were 3 magic boxes.
That's so funny.
So, oh, other random learning from the shop. Guess what else? Guess what box sold this week?
No idea.
Nightfall First Edition.
I didn't even know you still had that much as listed. That's so
I
funny.
forgot I did too.
That's
And then
so
it just
funny.
randomly sold. I was like, oh my God.
Yeah. I did just check my MetaZoo stock that's still up there because I still have a bunch of those like foil, this, that, and the other cards, and they sell every once in a while, especially the hype around it getting bought, and all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I just went through and was like tried to do lowest price on everything. It's still the lowest price, so literally nothing I own has sold at all by anyone. You know what I mean? I'm like, oh God, it's dead.
It's dead. It's dead.
Except for Nightfall, apparently. That's crazy.
Yeah. Someone bought it.
That's cool.
But yeah, you want to talk sorcery at all, or you want to hop into
Oh no,
economics?
there's a holder. Nothing. Oh well, I guess I'll say one thing. So we were talking about the boxes, the beta sold out last week, sort of thing. It is affecting the price, but not a lot. It went from like the 189 to 199. I'm guessing we're going to see the jump be pushed on by people selling boxes. Makes total sense. It's what people do. And just go from there. It's like pages and pages of boxes. So even though it's sold out at like cult distro level, Team Covenant level, it's not sold out. Like it's all over the market. There's plenty of it. So it'll be a while before that trickles through and it actually affects the price in any meaningful way.
That's good.
That's how I expect
Well,
it.
yeah. I mean, think about like, remember when Welcome to Wraith went out of print?
Yeah.
Yeah. How we? Yeah. Is it $100 yet?
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Exactly.
Is it MSRP? MSRP increased in Fab.
2.
112. No, let me hold on. I should have pulled it up before saying something.
And this is the map thing matters.
Yes. So
now,
map goes up.
Did they backdate it to other stuff, or is it just for?
I think it's just for hunted moving forward.
Yeah,
but don't quote me on that.
Yeah, the attempts at forcing pricing I still believe is a terrible idea that doesn't work. I know Sorcerer tried the same thing, and they got a lot of blowback for it, and it just won't work. Like, you cannot force a price because you cannot enforce it. If you don't have the policing powers or the Pinkertons that you call or whatever, right? Like, you're not going to be able to force people to sell it at the price you want it to if it's not selling at that price. And people will find liquidity one way or the other, and it will set the price in the market.
Yes.
So trying to force pricing is generally not going to work. MSRP, recommended price, that's one thing. But trying to guarantee it never goes below a price is, in my opinion, a fool's errand, no matter what game you are or who you are.
Yeah.
Did you find it?
No.
All right. It's just 112 in our heads. We'll move on. Economics. So this is a wild week in economics. Shortly after the last podcast, I don't know exactly what the story was because it was so long ago. I know it was shortly after because I was like, oh, shoot, this would have been useful to say on the podcast, but it hadn't happened yet. Trump basically started to pull back on tariffs. And again, just like before with the tariffs, we don't know what's true until he's actually in office and doing things. It's just the narrative has shifted and that changed things. As a result, we saw the expected risk of recession drop, and this is based on markets, basically. There's a way to bet, if you will, on these ideas. And because of that, it shifted where people were putting money, out of into risk on, off of risk off assets, which is a way of saying basically hedging for a recession versus not hedging for a recession. And essentially, they stopped or reduced their hedge for recession. As a result, the dollar drops, which happens. That's part of the way that economics work out. And so that did lead to some like, oh, what's going to happen here? How's this going to change like the Fed and all this, right? Everyone was like, well, let's see what the job data was because that all came in this week and everyone's looking forward to it. So job openings came in significantly higher than expected, which, if you guys remember when inflation happened, that was a big factor and a concern around inflation was the fact that there was, call it 2 openings for every single candidate out there, meaning that they could demand a higher wage because people needed people, right? And unemployment came in. This is, I think, just Friday that this one came in, and it came in very hot, meaning that the unemployment was low. We have very full employment. So we're now back at this like employment inflation is going to be the talk. I still think, and I've said this many times over the high inflation period, that while labor is a significant cost factor, price gouging was a much higher factor in inflation than the cost of labor. So I fully encourage people to get paid more. I think it's probably better for the economy. It's kind of going back to the Henry Ford thing. Like, if I pay my people enough that they can pay for my cars, I will have a market.
Right.
If I don't pay people enough where they can afford things, then it doesn't matter what I sell because no one can afford it, right? So I think we have to have a swing back that direction, because this, like, making laborers and wage workers and whatever basically foot the bill for every economic mistake and then deal with the fallout seems to be failing. And I think some of the news items that have happened kind of indicate that too, without going into details. Obviously, it might be related to insurance and CEOs, but
Maybe.
yeah, it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, wages should increase,
Yes.
and if that causes some inflationary pressure, I think it can be offset by maybe not doing $1 billion in buybacks, stock buybacks and stuff. So that's my opinion. But the economy is booming for just a small minority of people, and it should be booming for the majority of people. That's how economies work. You can't isolate, because they're all interconnected. Point being, though, is that last week I was saying I saw some signs of job concerns, and we'll see how the economic data comes out. Well, it came out the very opposite of what I saw the signs of. Now, granted, the data we saw is always offset by a quarter. So the data we saw had to do with the previous quarter. All the things I had heard were part of this quarter. Well, I guess probably the end of last quarter, which wouldn't be in this data.
Right.
And some of it was this quarter. Anyways, point being that the stuff that I'm seeing, the like, okay, there's going to be layoffs here, there, and everywhere else. Hasn't hit the unemployment data yet, but because this is so hot, even if it does, it kind of reverts to neutral as opposed to a downtrend for employment, right? So when you're talking about
after this news.
yes, yeah, basically, if you take last quarter and this quarter and combine the bad I was seeing, kind of rumor mill side, right, and then
it
the
doesn't
real
look
data
as
from last
bad.
quarter, it basically washes out, and we're back exactly where we were before any of this happened.
Wonderful. Cool.
Yeah, which is, again, where are we actually? We don't know. And the problem, or I guess my concern, is that there seems to be a bit of a jump on this data. And I don't know how much of this is just like, market people trying to hype markets, if it's, really real, if it's, whatever, right? And we have some time before we kind of settle it out. So there'll be a lot more data before anything happens. But point being is they're pushing for the Fed to raise interest rates again, or at least that's the worry. Everyone's like, oh, inflation's back. We're going to raise interest rates again, and it'll be terrible, this and that and the other. One, inflation isn't back yet. We have no indication of that other than that people have more bargaining power for their wages, right?
Yeah.
Which, it's a factor, but it's not the end of the end all be all. And we are seeing, this, that, and the other data point that kind of says, okay, does the Fed stop reducing? Which that would be step one, and then the opposite would be increasing, right?
Right.
We don't know yet, and of course, as we all know, as the Fed raises these rates, it affects everything from buying a house to a car to whatever.
Well, I mean, mortgage rates, every time they've cut the past time, mortgage rates have gone up.
Yeah, which is insanely off. Like, this tells you there's like pieces of the economy that are not clicking together correctly. There's real issues, and I don't know where the fundamental is on it, but it's clear that historic stuff doesn't work the same way anymore, and it's causing havoc on a lot of different like little areas. Mortgage rates is a good example of, like, even with the cuts, they went up because the demand went up because everyone was trying to get a mortgage at a cheaper rate, and then that's not how that works, right? Like, demand is the first order value creation or value decider, not the Fed. So anyways, so where does this lead us? I still believe we'll see some sort of economic decline over the course of this year. When it happens, I don't know. And again, I have been wrong
Yeah.
many times when I thought
Yeah.
this was happening in the past couple of years. It didn't happen. So who freaking knows? Yeah, it's wild. One of the things that came out before this employment data was freight news. There's an expectation of cuts and layoffs in freight, which is, if you think about core economics and like trickle effects, freight is a core. It's like an oil. If you think of it like that, it's like freight moves everything.
Yeah.
Every product that
Yeah.
sells goes through, right?
Yeah.
And so as a result, when something's happening in freight, it is indicative of larger trends in the overall
Right.
economics generally. And there's layoffs happening expected this quarter. Again, early discussion, not post data discussion, right? And so that was something I'm like, oh yeah, what I said last week is right. And then we get all this unemployment data. I'm like, well, that just blows that in the opposite. It's like, God damn it. So what happens? I don't know. Will the Fed stop cutting? I would expect them to at least pause, but they actually indicated they were willing and interested in doing that in the beginning of this year, anyways. They were like, we might have gone a little too fast. Let's just slow it down. They didn't say it that way, but that's the way people interpreted it. So there was expectation of very few cuts this year, depending on how inflation continued to cool or didn't. The current, kind of betting markets on this is that there will be only one cut this year, which is a drastic difference from where it was probably early December, whatever, when last people were talking about this. I think they expected 3 or 4 cuts, something like that, which does indicate the market is generally feeling more concerned about inflation than it is about like a recession. So we will see where it all lands. It is a crazy time. Interestingly, if we go back to the Trump tariff thing, those lead more to inflation than recession. The recession can come from the lack of demand as a result of the increased prices,
Mhm.
right? But that would be a second order effect. The first would be inflation. You'd see inflation spike and then a recession as a result of the mess up of the economic flow of things. So it's potential that we do get both, and it happens in some, kind of knock-on effect order. But this has gotten too chaotic to really say how it's going to go, and with Trump's back and forth on it, like we don't actually know if it's even going to happen, like if there actually be tariffs. So is this all just everyone speculating on the news and hoping they get it right, or like where does this actually land us?
Right.
But first order data, employment coming in hot. People basically having the ability to find new jobs. I see it personally too. Obviously, I'm tied into LinkedIn with all the companies I work with, and there's just way more job postings and pings on jobs and stuff
Mhm.
than there
Mhm.
were before. So it is definitely going that way to a degree in my little bubble. We'll see. We'll see how
I'm
it goes.
getting pinged a lot.
Are you?
Yeah.
Yeah. See, that's what I mean. Like, I think the data is really reflective of something. Maybe it's certain sectors like that aren't going to be affected by tariffs as much. If he
Yeah. I
pulls
mean,
back from the tariffs, do we end up saying yeehaw and like everyone goes gung ho economically? Like, let's build new things, hire more people. I don't
yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Like, it could happen, and maybe that's part of the whole thing is like the FUD around the tariffs, and then the tariffs being released, like or not being as significant as they
Yeah.
were, a month or two ago. Um, Maybe that's the signal for people to say, "Oh, we don't have to be so cautious. We don't need to buy 2
Is
years
this
of
is
inventory. We don't need to, worry as much." And then they go into do normal investment and growth and wage increases and stuff.
is this one of
Sorry.
those things where shoot, I lost it. Okay.
Sorry.
It's okay.
Definitely interesting times. We'll see. We'll see where it goes.
Yeah.
But
I did
this might
find
be job search time if you're looking for a new job. Sounds like it's a pretty good time where it goes.
Yeah. Yeah. I did find the fab numbers. It's 120 is MSRP, so 119.90, and then the unilateral price policy is 99.90.
Okay.
Um
And that's for just the hunt and forward or whatever?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I do like the art for it. And the marbles look kind of cool. But
Yeah. It does look cool.
One day when I have more time in my life.
Anything else?
I don't know. Just same as last week, just more data, but things are getting weird.
Yes, they are. Remember, the market can stay irrational longer than you can stay liquid.
True.
So it can continue going up way longer than we expect, and you can continue to make money on it. Just be ready for it to be an unexpected hold.
Yeah.
Because that is how this ends, inevitably. It never goes up forever. This will end. When it ends, if you just bought something, you will have to sell it for cheaper than you bought it, or you will end up having to hold it for 5 years. In the last case, it was about a 4-year period, right? Because it's 2020. I think end of 2020 was like the peak, and we didn't really realize it until somewhere in 21, 22. So, a 4-year period, 3-year period was this last kind of bubble to bubble or peak to peak cycle. So that's the good side. On the bad side, it can be longer. If you look back at the history of Magic, at least that's the one I'm most familiar with. There have been longer periods, so 7-year periods and stuff. So that's why I say 5-year, like plan on 5-year and you'll probably be okay. Like it'll either be a little bit better or maybe a little bit worse, but you'll live. And that's the way to proceed in these types of markets if you are on the buying side. If you're on the selling side, then you want to kind of like try to slow sell into it because it's going to keep going for a while. Like the trend is your friend, as everyone says. It goes up and it keeps going.
That's what I'm doing. Yeah.
Exactly. Just that's why when you're like, I haven't posted them yet, but I know I'd sell them if I did. It's like, just take your time.
Yeah.
Just slowly put them on there as you feel good about it.
Because that's what I did last weekend. And it was just like within minutes.
Take your profits, smile at the profits. Don't worry about missed opportunity if it went up again.
Oh, no, I'm not.
There's always another sale. There's always another buy. Yeah.
All I'm saying is I'm going to be real excited for this next wave, this next downturn. I think, honestly, it's clockwork. But again, everything's new and different in 2025. But it's also the same.
Exactly the same. Yeah. Yep.
Oh, what a weird world.
It is.
Sometimes I just went off the ride.
It's fine.
It's fine. That's when I step away. But that is not this day. So until next week, we'll catch you guys later.
Have a good one.